On today's show, Wild Card Weekend is in the books. Dreams were crushed, legacies were tested, and the NFL playoff picture has been blown wide open. We're breaking down who survived, who folded under pressure, and which performances changed everything. And then there's Pittsburgh. After nearly 2 decades, longtime Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin parts ways with the franchise, a move nobody saw coming, except for us, maybe, and a few others. What does it mean for the Steelers? And more importantly, what's next for one of the most respected coaches in the league? Plus, with only 8 teams left standing, we look ahead at this weekend's matchups. Who's peaking at the perfect time? Who's skating on thin ice? And which game could rewrite the entire postseason narrative? But there's one story nobody's talking about yet. And by the end of this episode, you might see these playoffs very differently. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Blindside Blitz. I am Jim McPhee, and right there's my compadre, Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, Blitz Nation? You know what time it is. Time to talk some football. We need you guys live and active in the chat. So if you got a question, if you got a comment, if you got an opinion, drop it down below in the comments. We'll read it on the air and all that good stuff. We'll give you guys credit, but that's what this show's about, is being interactive. Jim, I got to tell you, yeah, I'm a little inspired by that introduction.
Hey,
you did a good job, bro.
Thank you.
I'm all amped up. You got me all amped up to do the show now. Now we're all ready to go, ready to rock and roll.
They get amped up too, man, because after this weekend's games, man, whoa.
Can you here? So first thing,
Time to sit on the couch, Joe, right? What's it all out?
First thing,
therapy.
We saw yet again, and this is not anything new, but in Philadelphia, we saw yet another blowout between Nick Sirianni and A.J. Brown, the wide receiver. And then after everything's all said and done, they're like, oh, well, A.J.'s a great player, blah, blah. He's going to work through some things and everything. And then Brown, the other way around, is just like, oh, yeah, Nick Sirianni, blah, blah, blah. Like, we're just going to keep everything copacetic in, PR reasons. But you're going to jump all over A.J. Brown because he didn't make a catch down the sideline when he did try. He made the attempt. He tried to make that catch around the corner, and, he just simply didn't make it. So you're going to lose your mind over that guy. But, by the way, on that play, he was being interfered with.
Yeah.
No call. So, I mean, if you want to be mad at anybody, Nick, be mad at the referees on that one.
Yeah.
Could he have made the catch? Sure, he could have. We've seen some tremendous catches by A.J. Brown, but just didn't make that one. So I don't know. It's been absolutely insane, this playoff. Jaguars falling, Bills rising. I mean, you name it. We kind of anticipated this playoff run being spectacular, being action-packed. However, there was a game also that was pretty boring, and that was the Patriot game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So let's get into Saturday's games. The Rams defeat the Panthers in a tight one, 34-31, and it wasn't looking good for the Rams. Absolutely. I mean, early on, it was something I had talked about. I thought maybe weather might have been an issue, but it's Carolina, but I didn't figure there was going to be an error. It wasn't. And Matthew Stafford still struggled. I mean, not very good in early on, but then the Panthers, with their lack of being able to run the ball, which was impressive by the Rams defense and what they had done, they stuffed the Panthers run, and the Panthers averaged only 3.1 yards per carry in designed runs in that game, down from 4 from the regular season. So they're able to kind of do that and keep it a close game despite the miscues, despite the mistakes, the dropped passes by unlikely of receivers. And they managed to get out, with a win, and they were lucky even too towards the end of that game, giving the ball back to the Panthers, but just the Panthers, it seems like they never ran like that minute drill before at all or something like that, because defensively they were 10 to 15 yards back, giving all the Rams, if you give that to Sean McVay and the Rams, they're going to take all that dink and dunk underneath stuff all day. And that's what they did. Drove right down, scored. And then offensively, too many deep routes trying to get chunk change quick and just botched it completely. But from a team that probably wasn't expected to be there and their first time making the playoffs under head coach, they played well, and hopefully they can learn from this moving forward.
Yeah, you see two different types of player when it comes to Bryce Young. Like we alluded to that before we even got to this game, where we was like, okay, playoff weekend, just a couple things to watch out for. Like, what Bryce Young are we getting? Are we getting the Bryce Young who's stole away some games from other teams that you're like, how did this happen? Bryce Young was playing well. When Bryce Young plays well, this team is a force to compete with. Defensively, we know how good they are. They're well coached. They're a young team overall, but that defense is so stingy. We saw it in the playoff matchup against the Rams. Another meeting against the Rams, and they were right there through thick and thin, doing whatever they needed to do. It's just offensively, you'd like to see more consistency from Bryce Young, and I know it drives Panthers fans crazy. And it was no exception for this playoff game. The only thing that I can say, and we've heard reports out of Carolina right now, is that they are going to exercise Bryce Young's 5th-year option. So they're going to give him one more year to say, okay, well, if you don't get any better or stay more consistent on your 5th year, you leave us no choice. It's time to go for a different quarterback. But from all indicators, it sounds like he's going to be there for at least another year with Carolina, and let's hope that they can build even more around him. Hopefully, Bryce Young can snap out of it and be more consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. So overall, I mean, early on, again, the Rams going up to a 14 lead, but then the turnovers, the Rams had 9 penalties and a blocked punt late too as well against Carolina, who really, like I said, they let them back into this. So moving forward for the Rams, they can't do that this weekend, or else they're going to get destroyed. So they were lucky that it was against a hungry young playoff team in the Panthers, who just took the division barely in a 3-way tie. So they got to really step up their game for this coming weekend. All right, so let's move on to the other game that was on Saturday, which after that one, it just made me sick again. This game, I was, Joe, I was contemplating a lot of different things, just because watching the first half, you're like, all right, yeah, here go the Packers. They're, 21, points, right there. They're looking dominant.
Yep.
And I was watching it with my father-in-law. I'm watching this and we're like, it's going to turn around the next half. We can just see it. Next half's going to be all Bears. They're going to get right back into this game. And at the end, they're going to be there. And wouldn't you know it, coming right out of halftime, the Packers even had the ball. They had a chance to kick the field goal before halftime, score points, and then they were getting the ball back. So they could have doubled down. Instead, they missed the field goal with McManus, which he's probably not going to be on the team next year, and couldn't get the ball going at all. I would say about the Chicago Bears, although their defense wasn't great in the first half and even in some of the passing game, they were stuffing the run, and Josh Jacobs wasn't going nowhere, especially in the second half.
Yeah, this game, when we saw that score, the 21 points that Green Bay poured on, and it's like, okay, this is the Packer offense that we were hoping to see in the playoffs. We know that they struggled a little bit in the regular season, but maybe this is it. Maybe they're going to put their best foot forward and continue to step on the gas and pour it on in the second half. All I have to say is this is yet again, this is not the first time this season, I should say, going into the regular season, the Packers have done this before. They get a big lead, and then for some strange reason in the second half, it all blows up in their face, and they end up losing the game. Whether it be a defensive issue, I'm sorry, but it is a defensive issue. When your offense is scoring 20, 30 points and your defense isn't holding up their end of the bargain, it's not stopping the opponent. What was going on there? So for a lot of the people out there that are like, oh, Jeff Hafley, the D coordinator for Packers, getting head coaching interviews. Why? This guy, if you're going to bring him in to be your defensive-minded coach, that's what you want? You want a guy that gives it up in the end? Sorry. But for the Packers going forward, this goes to show you that Matt LaFleur, as much as and as many question marks that he's had, he's been ridiculed all season at times. And then sometimes when he coaches well and he calls a great game plan, everything goes right. So no one complains. But now here we are at a crossroads with Green Bay. Matt LaFleur has met with the GM, has met with leadership of the Green Bay Packers. It sounds like they're going to extend him, give him an extension, which is the right move. But I would say first order of business is firing that D coordinator and bringing someone else in. For the Bears, this is kind of something that teams that they faced all throughout the regular season, they've done this to. They've been in immense deficits in the first half of games, only to come back in the second half and chip away and chip away and chip away, and then boom, they get that last score at the end of the game to win the game. This is absolute resiliency from Ben Johnson's staff and him included. His coaching ability is through the roof. This dude is definitely he's a legit coach, and for future seasons moving forward. This is where the Bears struck gold. And you see the difference, especially offensively. You just see the massive difference from what they had beforehand to now. And then you team that up with the defense, which is already good. This team's going to be good for a long time. They're not going anywhere. So we'll see what happens, in the next round, see if they can still handle it. But what a game. It was a game of.
It was a game where the Packers should have easily handled the Bears.
But it was a great
Caleb
game.
Williams was not ready. Yeah, I guess so.
Playoff, pretty cool.
No, I get it. The drama was there, and I almost wanted to look up how many times this has happened in Amazon's history, especially this season. It seems like every game sucks for them early on, and then all of a sudden a phone call is made in, and the game flips upside down, and then it's close in the last minute, and then it's over to give them one hell of a game again. So it's very weird that, again, we get another Amazon game the same exact way. So that's why I've kind of felt weird after that game. It was kind of too planned out to me, especially how the Bears played. And Caleb Williams, terrible, absolutely sucked. And he wanted to yell at some of his other teammates and wide receivers. It was him. It wasn't them. It was him. If you got multiple people, they're all running the wrong routes, and you're the one guy complaining about it. It's not you. I think it's a you problem. And coming out of that game too, I really look at Ben Johnson. I think he's a real douchebag. I really can't stand him. I mean, it might work for the team and everything, and that's cool, but I think it might wear out pretty quickly too. Because how much can you just teach, like, we hate this team and I hate this team and we're at war right now and we're going to hate everybody and blah, blah, and this and this and blah, blah. Pretty soon people aren't always mad like that, dude. Like, what's your problem? You're such a douche, especially at the end of the game. Like, we can't just shake the hand of the other opponent, at the end of the game, say, at least good, camaraderie here and good gamemanship. No, you get a quick shake and walk away and, talk smack about them again. Like you did in the last couple of weeks you played them. Like, come on, man, get out of here with that crap. It's stupid. But that being said, what? Yeah, some people like it. Some people love it. I think it's
nature. I love the fact that
he
hates the Packers like you should. That's a rival. You should hate them. You should not want to shake hands. And we've seen this debate happen before where, like, the NFL kind of encourages it, basically, like, makes these coaches shake at the end of games. But if there's dissension, if there's, like, animosity, it's like, I don't fault anybody and just move on. Like, even in the college ranks, we've seen it before where I've seen college coaches just walk off the field. They don't even go walk towards the middle of the field. So it's like, we've kind of been, you could see it as bad sportsmanship. Sure. Like you could say that, I guess, if that's part of your argument or whatnot and everything, but I don't think it should be like a mandatory thing where you have to shake hands every single time. Like, listen, good game, whatever. But again, like some.
I mean, me, Joe. I'm not a guy that just like, all right, let's everybody get a participation trophy. It's not like that, but it's at least have some gamemanship, along the whole thing. Say, hey, it's a well fought game. Blah blah. We come out of here, not just like, yeah, see you later, bye.
Yeah, but there's been a whole animosity thing between Matt LaFleur and Ben Johnson since he took over the Bears. Like, there's been this hate growing between them, which
that came up out of his own brain,
which has actually been kind of like dusting off this rivalry and making it like a big deal once again.
Yeah. So. All right, we've got a couple comments from Williams in the house with us tonight. He says the field goal kicker didn't lose the game. The play calling did. Jacobs is the engine that keeps Jordan Love balanced. And once they went one-dimensional, Chicago shut it down. They stopped trying to run. Fail. They gave the Bears extra possessions. Yeah, they stuffed the run completely. I think, again, when we talked about questions that need to be answered, I think Jordan Love answered the questions. He was poised under pressure, create all the turnovers, threw a perfect game, just about 4 touchdowns, no INTs. I mean, he did what he could. he was getting pressured by an offensive line that also had another injury on top of it too. Don't forget about that. What Green Bay's been dealing with too, on top of it, injuries throughout the season too. So that's the factor. I'm not going to say it's an excuse, but again, they did shut down the run. That was key to what made the team one-dimensional as well. Then that's when they get those pass rushers that could just kind of pin your ears back and go after the quarterback. He said he's also with you. Don't help them up. You don't get chummy with them. And if you beat them, I'm going to beat my ass in the game. I'm heading into the locker room to chew some ass, not shake this
Shake the
winner's
winner's
hands. Now I win. Let's shake hands, and so I can rub it in your face, man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't agree with that, but that's fine. It is what it is. It's just like you guys see it this way. I see it another way. But also one highlight to that game too quick before we move on. Colston Loveland. How about that? One thing I think we did see in these playoffs too, in this last weekend, tight ends really showed out in big moments throughout all the games. It seemed like the quarterbacks really found their safety blanket in those tight ends, and Colston Loveland really made a big push here this year, and then also being a key player in that game too as well, getting open for Caleb Williams. When he's trying to get rushed out of the pocket and trying to make some plays, there was Colston Loveland then bringing it down. So all right, next, let's move on to how about the Bills and Jags, Joe? We're upstate New Yorkers. We got to talk about the Bills. I know Bills fans are up here. We're super hyped about it and going in. I know you and I were going in on the Jags, and the Jags had a chance again. I mean, I felt really strongly that the Jags had an opportunity. Trevor Lawrence had a turnover early in the game, but still made some plays with his feet. That once the Bills scored, the Jags just kind of came right back at him. It was just it was like two prize fighters just going back and forth, punching each other until the time pretty much ran out. But within that time frame, again, the Jags, on that one play, I get what they're trying to do, but I think Trevor Lawrence also had a deep corner route that was open in that route, and just throw that one. You're getting the big chunk. He was open, maybe even more. And he just goes for that. Hey, I'm just going to dunk it up the middle. Big tip, turnover, and the game is sealed up. And more heroics by Josh Allen, 273 passing yards. Only one touchdown pass here, 33 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, including that game winner for them. So he showed out for them when they needed it the most, but how far is going to go here in this playoffs?
He has to show up. If he doesn't show out and play a great game, this team doesn't move on from this round. That's the thing, is we were talking about that. Is other people on the team going to step up? We've seen a couple of the wide receivers go down with injury. That kid Shavers, who was kind of like starting to come on. He goes down with an ACL injury, so he's not even going to be available, for the following round. And it's Josh Allen or nothing. Buffalo, it's Josh Allen. And we saw the Jaguars move the ball by running the football. We said that was a concern. Like many other people out there, it's not a secret. This is a problem going forward. You can't keep relying on just Josh Allen to get you these wins. Like, your defense has got to step up, especially against the run. They got to do something different. I don't know. Maybe you guys have to just kind of like add another player or two to just put them up in the box, or at least show that you're going to blitz or something like that, and then drop them back. You got to mix some things up to stop these runs. So going into the next round, it's still going to be a concern. Everybody knows what their liabilities are, but Josh Allen is going to have to continue to score and score and score. Not only just to keep them in the games, but also even to try to come back and win them. So it's only going to get harder from here. That's the beauty of the playoffs, is every time you win, it gets harder, or at least it's supposed to get harder. So the Bills were, I'm not going to say lucky, because they did play like Josh Allen in that offense. They played well enough to get the win, but it was dicey at times and wasn't as fluid as you'd like to see. So for the Bills moving forward, somebody else has got to step up in the receiving group. Somebody. Like, I know they don't have much at their disposal, but Brandon Cooks might have to take on a larger role now. Like, he might have to be the guy that stands up and stands out and makes some plays other than Khalil Shakir. Because if anybody else goes down with an injury, I mean, I don't know how much of a passing offense you're going to have.
Yeah, that defense, again, now we saw it play out. They cannot stop the runs. And Travis Etienne, between him and Tootin, 100 and was it 150 yards rushing against them, 154 yards rushing against that team. Plus, Parker Washington showed up again. That guy's really come on late too this season, setting them up for success next year when you get Travis Hunter back, you get, Parker Washington here. Now this receiving core looks really nice here with everybody all together to make another solid run here. Let's build off of this playoff run. We learned some things here in the playoffs, and now let's move on to next season. But this defense of the Bills, opportunistic. They gave up really big plays, but when it mattered most, had the turnovers in crucial times, especially at the end. Cole Bishop, getting that pick here on the tip when Tre'Davious White was just smothered all over the receiver here. I think it was Jacoby Myers tipped it up, picked. It's over just like that. So
He was
that's
all
good
over
for
him.
this game. I know it was tight.
Over him.
Yeah.
Why throw it there?
Right, and that's good enough for this game, but moving on, now again, you've got tougher competition moving forward in the Denver Broncos. Now it's time because this defense here on this side, they're gonna be trying to pick off, Josh Allen and try and stuff the run. The key factor here for the Bills in this game is they held the ball for 33 minutes and 49 seconds, compared to the Jags, who only had it 26 minutes. So controlling it, keeping their defense off the field, just working it by the running game. That's the key for the Bills moving forward here. But it's going to be tough next weekend against the Broncos.
Yeah, all I know is that the Bills defense thanks Josh Allen immensely because that defense was getting tired. They were getting really fatigued. And if Josh Allen doesn't pull off that last, run down the field and score the points,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, yeesh, I don't think that defense wanted to come back out.
Absolutely. All right, Joe, you spoke upon it really quick early on with the issues with the Eagles, but let's dive into that game quick. The Eagles are knocked out. I'm excited about it, Joe. We got a year where we don't see the Chiefs or the Eagles. I mean, that's different for a little bit, but we've got some good matchups moving forward. The 49ers did what it took to get it done. It was a tough game. It was a
Yep.
a prize fight too as well. That one went back and forth. And the 49ers come out on top here and topple the Eagles to now there's even questions what goes on, not just with the offensive coordinator situation. AJ Brown again, a lot of people don't like Sirianni, but you're not going to fire a head coach that took you to the Super Bowl twice in the last 3 years. But we have seen him get rid of Doug Peterson though too before. So I think it'd take more than just a loss in the wild card round than to get rid of Sirianni. It's obvious that something needs to be done for that offense.
Yeah, and they keep pointing the finger at whatever OC is there. Like that's the weird thing is no one's pointing the finger at Nick. This is Nick's offense. He's the head coach. He can literally control what plays or set up plays or and game plan, help the offensive coordinator understand. Like we've seen this in Kansas City before. Andy Reid. Anybody that is the OC for the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid is dictating to them what they should be doing. It's not them by themselves. So, like for Nick Sirianni and the Eagles, this is like their fourth OC they're gonna go through and point the blame at the offensive coordinator now. Every time there's an issue, we're gonna point the blame in Philadelphia at the OC, not Nick. This is Nick's offense. What are we doing? Eventually, the crossroads got to come intersect here and be like, hey, wait, we keep firing these OCs, but the offense isn't getting any better. The offense just seems to struggle. Maybe Nick needs to take on those play calling duties and stand on 2 feet and just be like, hey, I'm going to take it on my chest. It's on me from now on because this whole experimental, we're going to hire this OC, we're going to hire that OC, we're going to fire this guy, fire that guy. There's no continuity with the play calling. You got Nick who's kind of just, I'm the head coach. I don't need to call plays anymore. Maybe you need to. It's that simple. Maybe you need to because that was the whole reason you were brought into Philadelphia was because you were an offensive minded coach. They wanted you to work with Jalen Hurts. And now every year we're just going to pass the buck down the road at the OC position. It's at some point that's got to stop. And the blame has to fall on Nick for not making the necessary changes, even in midseason. Why didn't he take over the play calling duties? If there was such a issue with, I forgot his name is like Patullo or something like that.
Yeah.
If you're going to keep pointing the blame at him, take the playbook away from him. If he's the problem, you should have took the playbook away and said, hey, no, I'm going to call the offense. We've seen other guys do it. We've seen Andy Reid do it at times. We even saw a dude that didn't belong calling plays in Detroit. That he had no business. But again, Nick, this is on you. That's how I see this offense. If it's struggling, you have the same players, and I don't hear any of the Philly fans out there top 10 what for Jalen Hurts? Is he quarterback? No, just prove to you in crunch time in the playoffs. This is where he needs to play his best football, and he falters.
Right.
Sorry, but not sorry.
Well, I think partially is what the offensive coordinator was doing with Jalen Hurts too, is taking away the ball when he runs it, like designed runs for him. They I think reduced it from like 96 runs I think he's had like last year compared to I think like 45 this year or something like that, 48. I know it's something like cut it in half of design runs.
Dramatic.
And just like what Lamar Jackson, I'm not saying they're both the same people, but the same type of thing, and same thing with Josh Allen. What makes them special is the dual threat. And when you take that away from Jalen Hurts, then he's just a game manager. Well, he's a little better than game manager, but he's not a top 5.
Yeah,
He's
he's
not
above
a top
average. He's
right.
definitely above average.
And that's what you see. And where, if you can't get it to the guys, your main key guys like AJ Brown, you're setting it up to Devontae Smith, who is getting some plays here for them moving forward. And if it wasn't for Brock Purdy with those 2 late interceptions, we're not even talking about this being even a closer game. Right. And looking at Brock Purdy and the 49ers now moving forward, Christian McCaffrey, again, needs to be kind of your bell cow in doing your rushing yards on the ground, but also get involved in the passing game. And 2 receiving touchdowns in that one. But Brock Purdy, he's got the questions to be answered. We saw him go all the way to a Super Bowl before, and it kind of looked like the moment got to him. Now in this one, you give up 2 INTs to pair up with your 2 touchdowns. That's not going to cut it moving forward against these teams here as you roll deep into this playoffs here if you want to make that Super Bowl run. So he's got to clean up some mistakes here. The defense was doing pretty good, but again, the wrapping up in tackles, but the rushing attack, you got to be able to stop the run on top of it too. You can't let Saquon Barkley get over 100 yards rushing either. So there's some questions to be had for the 49ers moving forward. It was a tight game. I'm excited that the Eagles are out of it. So no stress there. And I don't know. It's tough I don't know who I'm even rooting for moving forward in these playoffs.
Well, I mean, for this game in particular, I felt that not only did both offenses at times they struggled, like Jalen Hurts, we already kind of talked about him. Brock Purdy, he threw those 2 picks. Can't do that going forward. You're right. However, the defenses for both teams, they didn't show up half the time. This is a Eagles defense led by Vic Fangio that we expected to be high pressure, stop the run, don't let McCaffrey become too much of a factor, and that we saw that Eagles defense struggle through that whole game. And likewise for the Niners. At least the Niners got a little bit of more of an excuse because they're playing with like backups at linebacker. They're playing with backups at that D line. I mean, Robert Saleh is doing a tremendous job with San Francisco in that defense because he's been able to, no matter who's been starting, they even called up Eric Kendricks for this game, who's been on the practice squad for like, I don't know, 3-4 weeks. Yep. Now he finally got to start. So it's like, no matter what happens, the defense is okay.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be like the Niner defense we're used to because of the lack of starting talent that's out there. The one good thing this week that the Niner fans have heard is that Fred Warner is due to start practicing now. Now, don't know if that means he'll be able to play in this upcoming playoff game, if he'll be 100% ready to go. But if he is, with him on the football field as yet again the defensive captain, the guy that controls the defense, will get everybody in the right spots, and the defense could see an uptick that way.
Yeah, definitely. One bright spot for the 49ers is Lenore on the sides, for the corner position. Really
He's
locked down,
corner.
and people are just not throwing his way. But yeah, they've
very underrated secondary, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So let's move on to the news that broke late this afternoon, Joe. Mike Tomlin now is out of Pittsburgh, walks away from the team. They go mutual ways. So what is next for Mike Tomlin, and what is next for the Steelers? Now, without their head coach, longtime head coach, no losing seasons in 19 consecutive seasons with a 500 or better record. Longest streaks to start an NFL coaching career, actually, too. He's got one Super Bowl win in 2008, and he appeared in Super Bowl. I don't know what the hell those letters are, but 2010. Damn Roman numerals.
Always screwing me up. But yeah, so to be fair with Tomlin, his situation is different, unlike other coaches. He didn't get fired. He decided to step down. So technically, he was under contract through 20 this upcoming season. I don't know if he's in for 27,
27.
but I think it's just through 26 is when his contract runs through. Here's the issue. If he wanted to coach a different team, he would have to be traded. He would not be able to just go and sign with another team because he didn't get fired. So the Pittsburgh Steelers still hold his contractual rights through 2026. So if anybody was interested or if Tomlin wants to, they would have to perform a trade. We've seen trades like this happen before, giving up first round picks, second round picks, whatnot to get a deal. Not Sean Payton, he comes to mind.
Yes.
Sean Payton, the Denver Broncos, he was still under contractual rights with the New Orleans Saints. In order for Denver Broncos to hire him as their head coach, they had to give up their first round pick, their second round pick, and a future third. To me, that's a lot of freaking.
It is
a lot of compensation there for a coach, but if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do.
It seems right now it's working for him.
It sounds like Mike Tomlin might just take the season off, though. There's been kind of people close to Mike Tomlin that have kind of expressed this and said, like, well, he's not in a rush. Like, if he really wants to coach a different team, he's going to get the job and someone will trade for him. But it sounds like to me, the people that are closest to him, it sounds like he might just take this year off anyway. Kind of like what Mike Vrabel did. Mike Vrabel kind of took a year off after he got fired with Tennessee. He worked in the front office or something for Cleveland for a season and then came back and then was the top-notch candidate for a lot of teams. I think Tomlin, it's going to happen the same way. I think like if he has those interests to like maybe just take a season off, maybe get into like the booth a little bit, you know what I mean? Just to stay busy or something. Maybe that's kind of the course he's going to take is take a season off from 26, come back in the 27 coaching cycle, and then go find a new job then. But that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, and go for it. He's been in this league for a very long time. Like we talked about, 19 consecutive seasons, always winning. And a lot of coaches can't do that. So take a rest out, and make your decisions. When the caliber of this head coach, Mike Tomlin, and John Harbaugh are out there, I mean, they dictate what they want. And this coaching carousel this year, I think, is one of the most intriguing ones that I've seen in recent memory, because of the fact that the caliber of coaches that's out there, they can just dictate when and go whenever they want. They're in no rush at all. They kind of dictate the terms of, hey, I'll go there if I'm doing this. I know we're already hearing things about what John Harbaugh is asking for. He hasn't even done official interviews yet. He's done like Zoom type of meetings and setups that way, but taking their time, picking what they want. And as this playoffs unfolds too, there's still talk about even more coaching jobs that could be done after this. We could go up to 10 coaching jobs available right now in this offseason. And these guys could have their pick or walk away. Like you said, chill out and then see what happens next year. See how they feel. We've seen multiple coaches do this, go into the, television and then go back, especially because of the contract thing. I think that's an interesting factor there. Where would he want to go, and where do the Pittsburgh Steelers feel comfortable even trading him away to? You're not going to see them trade him away to any kind of contenders.
Yeah, we know for sure that he's not going to Baltimore.
Right.
That's something we can rule out. He's not going to Cleveland. We can rule all those AFC North teams that have head coaching vacancies. He ain't going there. I just can't see it. For Mike Tomlin, and people are some Steeler fans have been calling for this, to be honest. There's been kind of like the fan base is almost divided on this, where some fans are very upset with him stepping down. Again, you got to understand, the team didn't fire him. He decided he's had enough. He wants to take a break and reset type of deal. And this is, on the other hand, the other fans that have wanted this for the last 3 years, it seems like, they're elated. They're like, we needed a change. We need to reset this team. We need to rebuild and get better. Okay, that's fine. Now, when you look at why he resigned, there's a couple of factors here. There's a few of them. The way it looks like is that I feel like they had a meeting after the playoff loss and everything, and it was most likely it's a cordial meeting. Nobody was upset with anybody. No one was pissed or anything. And they just talked out like, okay, what do you think? Like, do you want to stay longer? Like, who knows? Maybe there was contract talks or whatnot, or what is his future. And they got to a point where there's so much pressure in Pittsburgh now to perform. Mike Tomlin and his coaching staff have helped this team to basically, like, you know, give the fans everything they want in a competitive team every single year for the last 19 seasons. Now you're spoiled at this point if you're a fan base.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what kind of led to all this, and I think this is it, part of it was pressure from the outside. Another part of it was not the fact of like, yeah, he's had winning seasons and that's great. It's tremendous. However, when you get to the postseason, you got to advance. And the Pittsburgh Steelers haven't won a playoff game since 2016. And when you look at what they've been able to do, it's great for Tomlin and his resume and whatnot. But results are results. You need to win playoff games. And because of this long, several years pass by, your team is making the playoffs, but you keep losing. I feel like this kind of got to a point where both sides were like, you know what? I'm going to step down. You guys, I know I can feel it in the room. Like you guys seem like you kind of want to go in a different direction, but you don't want to say it. So I'm going to pull the plug and just say, hey, you know what? I'm out. Takes all the pressure off you guys. But in the end, is it right? Is it wrong? Or indifferent.
Right.
I'd like to hear from other Steeler fans out there. Drop down the comments down below. Are you for this? Are you against this? And give us your opinion.
Yeah, I think he noticed the tread on the tires was getting low. I mean, the stars that they have are aging. They're close to retiring. The free agents that they grabbed just to appease Aaron Rodgers, and then he's probably walking away. So they have some good young talent right now, but it's going to take some other additions they need to make. And I don't know if he was willing to get back into kind of not a rebuild, but a retool. And again, or get this talent going. So,
listen, this roster, they're getting a lot older. There's
right.
guys that he brought in, Darius Slay. You know what I mean? They traded for Jalen Ramsey. They moved
just
his position
that they knew was already there. And the one problem though with this team is they haven't gotten new talent. And the one elephant in the room is they haven't gotten a franchise quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger. That's so to do that, you need to get rid of Mike Tomlin or he's going to walk away. And I feel like the next head coach for the Steelers is got to be an offensive minded guy or a guy that you trust and believe and say, hey, listen, I'm going to go to the GM and be like, this is what I'm looking for, and this is our guy, moving forward. And it might not even be this year because we know, with what the Raiders, they're probably going Mendoza and what's going on. It's not really a strong quarterback class, but moving forward, who do they grab as the next free agent quarterback to fill the gap? They bring Mike McDaniel over, then who does he like? Is it even Kyler Murray to go over and wear the gold and black? I mean, what is it? But this is going to be happening, and this is the change moving forward. And I feel like it's got to be an offensive change.
But this is the problem. If they do that route, they're doing the same thing they've been doing. They're going to sign a quarterback yet again, and that's what they might have to do.
We'll have to do that unless you're going to just, again, be terrible with Mason Rudolph.
But the thing is this is what you've been kind of trending to do anyway, is by signing a veteran, not drafting anyone. And I get it. This class is not strong. We understand that. But who knows? Every once in a while in these drafts, teams seem to find quarterbacks middle rounds, late rounds, and they seem to kind of now it's a rarity. I get it, but you never know with this class too. Like there could be a guy who isn't as gifted right now, but if a team drafts him in the middle rounds and they work with him, and then who knows, maybe he shines. Think about this. They did draft Will Howard, who ended up getting injured this year, and he hasn't been back since. Now that was a quarterback that they believe they could develop and maybe be the future for them, but we'll see. Can he come back from this injury? Is he in the sights of whoever gets hired to be a quarterback? Because that's the other thing too. They could have Mason Rudolph on here and Will Howard, and whoever they do hire comes in and be like, I don't like that guy or that guy. I need someone else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot of big time decisions for Pittsburgh because you can't what they've been doing up to this point with Tomlin, you can't continue to do for the new coach. You have to rebuild this roster up. You have to now, don't get me wrong, they have some talent. They do. They got some young
Mhm,
talented offensive linemen. They got DK Metcalf who's still there, right?
mhm,
So,
mhm,
but now you need to find someone to get him the football. You need more wide receivers, not just one,
mhm.
and then you need to instill youth on the defensive side.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mainly at the defensive side to get a little bit younger. And the thing is too with this team is Arthur Smith has his hands on all of this, a lot
Right.
of the team. You hope that if you're Pittsburgh, you're not like, "All right, Tomlin's gone. Arthur, I like kinda what you've done here, blah, blah, blah,
Mhm.
you know, we're gonna move you up because again,
Right.
he brought in, Jonnu Smith and some of these other guys ran his offense, that type of
Right.
thing, and it really wasn't going anywhere. You're running by committee, the best that you could here to get moving forward and just Aaron Rodgers being limited, just get to the open guys, and it didn't really work out for him. So I don't feel it's a good idea for them to elevate
Yes.
Arthur Smith, seeing
Yeah.
though is he has had head coaching experience, but not very good experience.
Yeah.
I feel
So
like if Tomlin's gone, you gotta shut it down and you need to bring in the new guy to set his stamp on things. So
mhm,
I think that's the way
absolutely.
they should move. So we'll see what happens. It's a storied franchise, and you have that team out here. You have the Giants out there. You have the Atlanta
Mhm.
Falcons who are a great job too. To pick up with Bijan Robinson and Drake London and all the stars that are on that team too as well. So I can't wait till the ball starts dropping on some of these teams and who chooses who. I mean, it's going
Yeah.
to be astronomical.
We all know that with as crazy as the candidates that have been popping up, coaches that like John Harbaugh, we all know he's the belle of the ball. We know that everybody is waiting to see where he's gonna decide to go. Like and he hasn't even taken interviews, by the way. Like
No.
the one new piece of information that we got was that John Harbaugh has been conducting this week, he's been conducting phone calls and
Yeah.
extensively long phone calls with
Yeah.
certain teams.
Mm,
It hasn't been he isn't casting a wide net. He's looking at the teams, their stature, where they sit, cap compliant. Do they have a high draft pick? What's the structure look like in the front office? And what he's narrowed it down to, what it seems like, is 5 teams. It seems like the Giants, I would think Giants are number one on his list. That's what I'm going to assume. I know he's very intrigued by Tennessee, believe it or not. The Tennessee Titans are an intriguing team because I'm not comparing these teams, but I'm just saying it's similar how they're going about things. So, like, if you look at the Patriots, what they did 2 years ago, and you look at Tennessee, what they did this past offseason, it's kind of almost like a mirror reflection of how they were building the team. But they got a new quarterback now, and now he's going into his second year, so that might entice maybe Harbaugh. He likes the defense and all that. So it's an intriguing team. Cleveland Browns is on the
yeah.
list.
Yeah.
I don't understand that one at all because I think they still have a question mark at quarterback.
Yeah.
They don't have that answer.
They don't have things rare. I mean, I think Atlanta's a really nice spot too. I mean, if I'm a head coach, to jump into that situation, I think you do
Yep.
have a good situation there. You have
But
a lot of talent all around.
that's the interesting thing. They're not on the list.
Yeah, isn't it?
What's
That's
being
just weird.
reported, I guess the Cardinals, believe it or not, are on the list, and
Mhm.
the Raiders, which I felt it perked my interest, I'll say, especially the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Cardinals was like, "Oh, they're coming out of left field." They've been so quiet during this whole cycle that it's almost eerily weird how quiet they've been.
Right,
So
and it's almost like, well, what's bringing him there? I mean, is it the contract? Is the money? Is it the power? And that's what I was afraid of. Like when you talk about the Titans, you remember Amy Adams Strunk
yeah,
pushed out
yeah,
Vrabel.
right.
Like he didn't want to go. Like she pushed him out. Like, hey, no, you want too much. This and this and blah blah. This and that. No, it's not. And
Just made
she
that
screwed up.
decision.
She screwed up. And but she's willing to do this for like Jim Harbaugh or John Harbaugh. I don't know.
Oh, here's
You
the
know what I
other
mean?
thing
I
though.
think that's an erratic situation. I would stay far away
But
from Tennessee.
also, like you mentioned, like she got rid of Vrabel, right? Like she came in, I'm the owner now. You're fired. Why? I want to start clean. I want to start clean no matter what. Okay, let's hire Brian Callahan. How long did Brian Callahan last? One season.
Oh,
Done. She fired him too. So like if you're not going to have any patience at all as an owner, let you need to have some advice from your GM. I know she's, and kudos to her. Like she's trying to learn the game, learn the business and all that and make the necessary decisions. But here's the thing is if you're that new to this whole sport and you're that new to being an owner of a NFL football team, don't you think you should lean on someone that you hired to run the team, like your GM? Maybe you get some advice from that person who's been there, done that. I think you're right, Jim. I agree with you. Like Tennessee, as much as it might be an interesting place to go, you also got to look into that with the owner. Like, how safe am I if I take this job? Am I going to get, because I'm not coming to your franchise if I'm John Harbaugh for 2-3 years. I'm looking for a 5-7 year deal. Like, I'm looking long term.
Yeah.
Possibly to end my career.
Yep, absolutely. So there you go. Legendary stuff going down in the NFL right now. We're going to be following it week to week as it comes out to play. But here we go. We've got the playoffs going again. The next set of round, the divisional round matchups. 8 teams left. Only 4 will be left over after it's all said and done, Joe. And the ashes from the ashes,
right.
the Phoenix will rise. And let's talk about the Bills and the Broncos matchup quick here first. Saturday, January 17th. Broncos at home. They've got a week off. Will they start off a bit sluggish?
Rusty?
I think the offense is going to be rusty altogether, in the beginning,
Okay.
and I think this offense for the Broncos, though, too, hasn't even been stellar. It's kind of funny when we were also talking about like the Chiefs, like last year, right? We were like, hey, the Chiefs, they look good and they're winning, but we still haven't seen them at their potential yet. Like, I haven't seen that yet.
The best
You
of
know what I
them.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, the best of them. They just haven't played it offensively.
Right.
Defense, they are, but offensively, we just haven't seen it. And so for me at that particular time, they were like my scary team to watch going into the playoffs because we haven't seen the best yet. And when we get it, watch out. And that's kind of reminds me about this Broncos team, better defense than what that Chiefs team was, but something with the offense that could be better, especially under Sean Payton, but just hasn't really turned it on yet. And they're really reliant on that defense, keeping them in the games and, kind of having some late game heroics to do it. Same thing with the Bills, though. On the other side, they don't have a good defense, but the late game heroics of Josh Allen, this plays right into the Broncos kind of thing. It's like, hello, Josh Allen, said the spider, to the Josh Allen, hey, come on into my little web, it's bringing it right into the nest. It's like, and this defense is like, oh, we got him now. We've seen it in the previous games. Pressure Josh Allen, force him to make mistakes. Don't let him run. Hold him back running around that line of scrimmage. And these receivers aren't going to get open. He's got to try and go to, Dawson Knox or Dalton Kincaid, some trying to dish it off and also stuff that running games. This is going to be a really tough matchup here. I'm excited to watch this game, but the Broncos, they're salivating at this one here.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a team that you just mentioned, like they were the better defense, not just in the AFC West, but in the league. They are a legit defense. They will pressure you like no other. And that's what I love about this defense, by the way, is Vance Joseph, the D coordinator, he calls a great defense, but stays aggressive throughout. Hey, they might get beat every once in a while. They might give up 10, 15, 20 yards every once in a while on a big play. But man, is this defense, they come after you. They continue to do so. Josh Allen is going to have to find some new and inventive ways to kind of keep the Broncos on their heels, but it's going to be a tough matchup for sure. I worry about this matchup for the Buffalo Bills because now that you made it this far and the way that you played against Jacksonville, that won't work against Denver. Denver will capitalize on your mistakes, especially defensively. I have an issue and concern for the Denver Broncos as well. Like you just alluded to, Jim, the offense just hasn't taken over games. It hasn't blown anybody out or, make a statement of a game with their offense. And I've said it once and I'll say it again. I still believe that Sean Payton continues to call a safe game instead of opening it all up and let's go score as many points as possible. You see them run a lot early on in games, a lot. Try to run as much as possible without being too one-dimensional. But then when it comes time, like, crap, we're down by 10. It's midway through the third. We got to do something. It seems like a switch gets flipped.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the Denver Broncos offense looks a little different. Looks like they're pushing the ball down the field all of a sudden. So One thing for the Broncos, I'll say this. Offensively, you have to come out aggressive. You can't keep playing the safe game that you've been up to this point. For the Bills, it can't just be Josh Allen, and your defense has to step up. It has to step up against the run because the Broncos are going to try to run the ball. If you allow them to, they're going to do is run the ball. So great matchup. I have concerns on both teams, but again, I still think it's going to be an excellent playoff game.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. And you kind of sparked something that reminded me even back at that Pittsburgh Steeler game this past weekend. I'm watching it, and my father-in-law, we're watching it together, and he's like, "Oh man, they're getting stuff here and this and this." I'm like, "Well, look what they're doing. You're running, and then your screen pass. That was the offense of the Steelers.
Yeah.
Let's run and let's throw behind the line of scrimmage. That doesn't move the ball forward. And this is what happens with the Denver Broncos at the same time. You run the ball or you throw it, dish it out to Harvey or somebody at the end or a bubble screen. Okay, it looks cool and whatever. It might get you some chunk to kind of mimic a run game. But when you're doing it 3 downs or 2 out of the 3, you're not moving the offense. You're not moving the ball downfield. Get things open to try and open it up deeper. And finally, at the end of the game with the Steelers, they were able to do that a little bit. They're like, oh, now they're moving the ball. Oh my goodness. You're throwing it past 5 yards. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And this is where I think the Broncos fall into the same path. Next week,
let's just be safe.
Yeah.
Let's just be safe. All right, we're just gonna be safe.
Yeah, yeah. So next let's talk about the Texans and the Patriots. Now the Patriots at home. Here's to where they've got to just kind of prove who they are too as well. We know that Mike Vrabel is who he is, and he's talked this team really up. They've kind of turned right around, from a dismal season last year. Coming in, changing them around. Drake May is playing the best that he has ever. Everybody talks about the weak schedule, though. There's a lot of non-believers about this team. They are tough at home, too. You've got the all-around balanced team. The defense is good on top of it. You've got Chase on, guys like him making plays for the Patriots. Gonzalez shut down corner here on the back end too as well. And I fear for the Texans to not get those jitters. It really looked like CJ Stroud for some reason just had the jitters this past game. And we're watching the game on top of it too. And they had said, I remembered in the broadcast, like, oh, he can't see the center right or this, so he's shifting and this is view. I'm like, what the frig? That just sounds like a fake excuse. Like, what can he see? And for me, I'm looking at it as he thinking the defense was coming quicker than it really was. So he was reacting quick to try and pull the ball up quicker instead of get a hold of it, drop, and then make your plays. It seemed like he tried to get out so fast that he wasn't really securing the football first. And then when he was even dropping back, getting crazy legs, throwing off balance, off his different odds feet. And that's not him. He's got to just sit in the pocket, feel comfortable, make some plays here. And he can't do that against this Patriots defense.
What I saw from CJ Stroud is I didn't see jitters. I saw no focus. I saw him thinking he was prepared, but also not keeping his eyes on the ball. Every time he was in shotgun and he turned the ball over twice this way, he wasn't looking at the ball to catch the ball.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't watching the ball into his hands, then looking up at the field. You saw when he goes hut, he's looking already at the field. He's looking where his receivers are before the ball even gets to his hands. So that's what led to a couple of those fumbles, and then he throws a pick, and it was a disaster game. It was a worst case scenario for CJ Stroud, just him, because it was. You
It was just him.
else but CJ on those. So, and he understands that. He was frustrated too during that game. You could tell, but I think that going into this week, you have to sharpen that focus immensely. You cannot be lazy. You cannot be, lackadaisical about these matchups. This is not the same as regular season. And for CJ Stroud, you're gonna have to see a tighter game from him going into New England. The one other thing that I'll say that will become a factor too is yet again, you got a lot of these teams now that are visiting these fields in unfamiliar territory. Like the Texans down in Texas, like, yeah, it gets cold down there, but you're going in New England now. Who knows what the temperature is going to be? If they're lucky, it'll be around 40, 35, something like that. But if it gets to like really, really cold, sub below zero type temperatures, they could really affect this team. Oh, this is why you play the game to get a higher seed, so you don't have to go to these matchups. But this matchup alone, the Patriots have been so rock solid up to this point. Again, They didn't look as explosive this past game. They just didn't. I
Yeah,
wonder if it's good if they're going to. I mean, I would assume that they're just going to be like, okay, we were a little rusty. We weren't really sure what we're, whatever. This matchup is critical for both teams because the Texans, I feel like, have this. They obviously they have one of the best defenses. We've been saying that all year. However, the offense has been coming along. You saw some sparks there. You saw Higgins get involved. Higgins scored a
yeah,
touchdown.
yeah.
Nico Collins left the game. He got an injury, so there's some questionable, is he gonna be ready to go? Is it concussion related? So there's some concerns on Houston. For New England, they just need to dust off all the rust. They need to get back to what works and everything. So the great matchup by all means. I think if there's as long as there's no weather related issues for the Texans, this is going to be one of the best games to watch because the Patriots have a rock solid defense. Well, that's who it just popped in my head. Christian Gonzalez. He
Yeah.
left the game with a concussion. He's being evaluated. Don't know how
Yeah.
severe it is. If he has to miss this game for some reason because of the concussion, could be a big thing to watch out for in terms of matchups.
Nico
For the
Collins, big time if he's not in the
Yeah,
game. I
yeah,
mean, that's a
and that's the
fact.
thing. And for the
Yeah,
Patriots, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, you are the favorite. You're supposed to win this matchup, but the Texans are one of those sneaky teams where as long as Stroud plays well, you forget about last week. Just forget about it. That will give them a run for their money for this one.
yeah, and with that injury to Nico Collins, Christian Kirk's really made a showing last week too, right? How many times did we call his name? I was like, wow, look at this guy showing up, on his what, third team, fourth team. So step up when it matters in the playoffs, and that's what these teams got to do. Keys to the game for me is New England needs to effectively run the ball with Henderson or Ramondre Stevenson. You had a Ramondre Stevenson sighting last week, well, 100, running like 128 yards, I think. They need to effectively run the football to make it easier for Drake May and that offense to get going. And on the opposite side, like you said, I mean, the defense of the Texans is great, and the other players, Marks was playing well, along with
Mhm.
Chubb, even too. On top of that, get that running game going. It's just reliant on Stroud. Stroud could not make the mistakes he was doing last week. Absolutely
Absolutely
not.
not.
When it kept happening, I was just like, dude, what is this dude's problem?
I
And
think Houston's
I
gonna
give I
Yeah.
give, D'Amico Ryans a ton of credit for just kind of just sticking with it and just kind of like, oh man, all right, and not calling him out either too, or not because
No.
one thing too, Laura Rutledge, I swear she's on like the Mount Rushmore of some of the sideline reporters due to what the things that she asks and the questions, man. I love it going right at into halftime, say, hey, what are you gonna tell CJ Stroud to limit the mistakes and stuff like that? Like going right for it. And they gotta give it to D'Amico Ryans and just be like, he's playing good. We had some excuse, but we're gonna get it going. So it was nice to dodge
Coach
that
speak.
question. Yeah,
That
it was
is.
absolutely good though. It was good. So
Coach
moving
speak.
on to the NFC side of the ball, we've got the 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks coming off their bye week, and rested to have a home game at the 12th man stadium. We love that there too. It's going to be rocking. They were saying something about even the Steelers, stadium rocking and rolling, and they've never seen that before, heard that before. Well, this one's going to go nuts. They might even make a record, I think, with the sound noise barrier that they have
Tough to
in that
do.
in that stadium. Those guys are crazy. But the 49ers, key to this game too. That defense is hungry too. They like to turn the ball over, and Brock Purdy needs to play a safe game. Give it to Christian McCaffrey. He's got to be your offense, and then that'll open it up for your other stars like George Kittle and Juwan Jennings too on top of it, who's been a really big player for them as of lately as well.
Yeah, Juwan Jennings was playing like a madman last
Mhm.
week. He was
Mhm.
angry. I loved it. Like, that's what I like to see. When you got some of these players that are just so amped up that they just want to just obliterate everybody. Juwan Jennings was definitely one of the most physical wide receivers so far in the playoffs. Guy was after it. The Niners, again, we talked a little bit about them before with their defense, but the offense, like you mentioned, Jim, Brock Purdy, he can't make those decisions, or I should say poor decision making,
Mhm.
and he can't
Mhm.
make them going into this matchup. This is a Seattle Seahawks team that beat them in the regular season to hold the crown of number one seed. And now that they've gotten their rest and they're back again, you got to wonder with a lot of these bye weeks that these teams get, or I should say the two teams that they get these bye weeks from, are they going to be rusty when they have to play? You can practice all you want. You can do run through drills and whatnot doesn't prepare you for live action. So if Seattle can come in and play at a high level right away, they're going to be the favorite to win this game. I mean, I I got nothing else to say, but this team has been playing crazy good defensively. Offensively, Sam Darnold, we've seen him kind of go a little stray at moments, but I will say this, that Sam Darnold has impressed me as well in some
Mhm.
of these matchups where he kind of still excels, especially against the Niners this regular season game that they had. I look for much of the same from Seattle. They are home. They got all the momentum. Just don't come out, a little light footed. Don't come out, with no intent. If they handle all their business and they come out and don't come out flat, I think the Seattle Seahawks might edge out the Niners in this one. However, the Niners have been overcoming odds immensely, injury wise, and they're still here, still one of the better teams. This is yet another matchup where I am like dying to watch. I cannot
Yeah.
wait to watch this game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I have no real, foot in the game at all, or so. I mean, I'm just gonna watch it. Whoever comes out of it, like whatever, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So I'm excited for that one too as well. All right, let's move on to the Los Angeles Rams and the Chicago Bears. Bears at home again to trying to extend this run into the playoffs deep here, and they face a buzzsaw of a team, and that's the Los Angeles Rams here. And the key for the Rams, though, is to get that big lead and hold on to it. You know what I mean? Because the one thing the Bears about their defense, we talk about some of the, being able to do
Yeah.
turnovers, stuff like that. They give up a lot of chunk plays, a lot of yardage and stuff. And this is what kind of feeds into what the Rams can do. They can take the top off of anything here, with Puka Nakua, and you got Devontae Adams on top of it. Colby Parkinson in the tight end situation too, and what he's been doing on top of it. I mean, weapons galore everywhere, and then a dual threat in the running game. This offense can just roll right through here, and the Bears. And the thing for the Rams is hold on to the lead. If you get a late, you've got a lead. The Bears have known to have that late game kind of comeback. You can't let Caleb Williams and his team kind of get back into this thing. Shut it down. Matthew Stafford's got to play like his MVP self and take care of business here.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you say get a lead and extend it. That's a problem for the Rams all of a sudden, it seems like. I mean,
Mhm.
they were able to pour on points, no doubt about it, against Carolina, but again, what happened on the defense? Why'd you let Panthers score 31 points? You know what I mean? Like that's going to be looked at too. So the Rams coming into this matchup, this is the Bears. Honestly, they're another really hot team in the NFC. That this is a very seasoned defense. They are aggressive. They're tenacious. They get after you. They create turnovers, and that's what you. Those are key moments in the game that you could just definitely shift the whole focus of it. Stafford and company gotta be don't take these guys lightly. Just because you're going into Chicago and you think the travel is gonna be the worst of it, maybe the weather. No, this team is legit. They're for real. And you mentioned too, like with Ben Johnson's fiery attitude and everything about how he's going into these matchups. He's got these teammates or these players, he's got them willing to run through a brick wall for him. And when you have that, that's powerful. So I just hope the Rams don't take these guys lightly.
Absolutely. If anything, they should have learned from last week is don't take anyone lightly. And as the weather not being a factor last week, going into Chicago, yeah, there's going to be wind, and what else could move forward for these guys? And Chicago turning the ball over are 9-0 in the 2025 season when forcing at least one fumble. Lately, Matthew Stafford hasn't been really securing the ball at all. So that's one key factor for Chicago. If they could do that here and kind of make some more of those turnovers that's been their bread and butter. So we'll see. Those are all exciting games. We're excited to watch the playoff games this weekend. Joe, that's it for the show. Why don't you tell everybody how they can get some more episodes of this show and keep contributing to the group here?
Yeah, we hope that you guys would, if you like the show, give it a thumbs up. Head over to YouTube for us at Grumblings Media. Make sure you hit the subscribe button for us. Don't forget to tell a friend to tell a friend. Share it. Spread the word. Why don't you guys be interactive in here? Why don't you guys drop down in the comment section down below? Give us your thoughts about the Steelers and Mike Tomlin and him stepping down and whatnot. Like, are you for it? Are you against it? And then let us know your picks for these playoff games in the second round. Who do you got in each matchup? We'll see you in the next one.
All right, see you guys.
Hey everybody, this is William Del Pilar, founder of Grumblings Media, and I want to say thank you for watching our content. If you want to support our all-volunteer efforts at Grumblings Media, smash the subscribe button right here. 100% free, and please consume and share our great content. Click either one of these two boxes for more of our work.